Welcome everyone to today's virtual town hall meeting. My name is Beth Noel. I'm the Director of Marketing at MCC and I will be your host. I would like to start off by acknowledging that this virtual meeting is a first for the institution. This national crisis has required us all to try new ways of working and connecting, and college leadership is happy to be able to pull us all together today for this update. Before President Mabry begins his presentation, I want to go over the process for participation. In order to make sure everyone can hear clearly and there is no audio feedback, all participants have been muted. Please note, video and audio from this meeting is being recorded. You can choose to mute your device's camera by clicking the video camera icon at the bottom of the screen. After the President's brief presentation, there will be a question and answer session. You may submit questions via the chat bubble at the bottom of your Zoom screen. We have received some questions ahead of time, and we'll answer these along with the questions submitted via chat in the order they are received. The President and members of the emergency management team will respond to as many questions as possible. A log of all questions submitted via chat will automatically be generated. Any questions we are unable to answer due to time constraints will be addressed individually via email, added to the COVID-19 webpage, or included in an upcoming college-wide email update. A recording of the town hall meeting will be available for community members who are unable to participate in this live presentation. President Mabry, I turn the town hall over to you.
Okay, there we go. I think I'm live now. So I just want to thank everyone for attending this virtual town meeting. And it's great if everybody can turn their camera on and we can see them. Always a good thing. Let's see, we now have 175 people in the meeting. So there is quite a group online. It's great to be able to talk to everybody today. We all recognize that this is a new and different world, and that this is something we're all learning how to do today. As Beth pointed out, first virtual town hall, first large group meeting at the college, so bear with us. We're going to need a sense of humor today to get through this, and I hope you'll all support us as we try to reach out to you here. First thing I want to do today is really thank everybody for all you have done over the last couple of weeks. Faculty have really done everything possible to restructure their courses and connect with their students. We have seen amazing creativity as faculty have found tools and techniques and new strategies to continue our mission of being an open access and student success centered institution. So it's just, we're just amazed at what everybody has done. The ways people have found to continue are just amazing. Student services has really come up online too. They're there to help everybody. Phone calls are being diverted to them. They're being routed to them. It's really, as always, the student services folks are there to help our students. Facilities has continued to work hard. They've cleaned the campus top to bottom. They are cleaning continually, and they have been here every day making sure that they could help us continue and keep all our buildings going. Marketing Communications has done a great job of creating a new website that they've been adding to every single day. This has been a great resource. I've had a number of institutions just point out, how did you do that? And really be quite surprised at how good this is. Public safety has been there helping out, doing everything from keeping the doors locked to handing out 10 pounds of clay to students. So they have really, done a great job of, being there for everything we needed them for. And just everyone at this college has been wonderful, has been focused, has really done the job we needed to do to be able to achieve our mission in these trying times. Senior management team has been working nonstop, as have many of you. And again, we just really appreciate all that everybody has done. What you have accomplished in these last few weeks is truly remarkable. And, we're not surprised that this turns out to be the most creative, the most innovative, and the most entrepreneurial college team in the Commonwealth. All of you have done a tremendous job. So it's just another example of that true MCC spirit shining through one more time. I just want to repeat briefly a couple of the points from what I sent out to the college community yesterday. We all recognize that this pandemic will get worse before it gets better. All of us have been seeing this on the news. We know that with the increased testing, we're going to see more cases. There's going to be more identifications and more notifications. So that is going to go on. It's never clear how long this will go on, but we know it's going to go on for quite a while. So it's going to be something we watch and what we keep track of. As I said also yesterday, we are planning and really putting in place everything we need to do to be able to teach and support everyone through the end of the semester. So we want to make sure that we can continue to carry on throughout the semester, teaching and working remotely. We want to make sure it's absolutely safe before anybody comes back to campus. When that time will be, hard to tell. So we're planning, though, to the end of the semester. We'll keep everybody fully informed on that. We've really begun to put that plan in place. And as I talked to my team this week, now that we have a plan, it's how do we execute that plan and how do we support you, the members of the Middlesex Community College community, as you're carrying this plan out and really helping our students to succeed. So we want to make sure that we are there to support you. Now, I think we're all aware that on Monday, we're going to have all our students back in classes. This will be another real pressure test for the institution. And I want to make sure, that we are really prepared to take care of that on Monday. There will be some bumps, there'll be some glitches, but make sure if you have questions, concerns, or need anything, you reach out to your manager, your chair, your dean, the vice presidents. We'll make sure that we do our best to get you the tools and the resources you need to continue helping us to meet this mission. So we'll do our best to support you because we know you will be doing a great job supporting our students. So with that, I'm going to move into some of the questions that have been submitted, and then we will start taking questions from all the people that are on board now. See, we now have 208 people in this, virtual town hall. That's really wonderful. So many people joined us today. So first question was, will in-person activities resume after May 12th? I really have answered that both yesterday and today, that we are planning to work remotely and teach remotely until the end of the semester. We'll be reassessing this situation as we go on. But I do not anticipate at this point, with the information we have, that we will be back before the end of the semester. I always stay optimistic, but there's still a long road to go with this pandemic. The second question was about why haven't we moved everything online to the rest of the semester? Well, we're in the process of doing that now. And we've put in really all the strategies we need to do that. It's now just carrying through on that plan and those strategies to the end of the semester. The fourth question was about, have we considered going to a PassFail grading system? And we've discussed this at length, and it's really that we're largely a transfer institution. Most of our students either sooner or later are going to transfer, and pass-fail is often not accepted as transfer credit from higher education institutions. And we do not, at this point, want to penalize our students in achieving their long-term goals. So that's been the discussion around pass-fail, but I'm going to ask Provost Sisson to pick that up right now.
Phil, just give me a second to find you so I can activate your mic. Go ahead.
Great, thank you, Beth. It's great to see everybody. Thank you all for the tremendous work that we're all doing. I'm assuming we have a number of students that are with us today. We welcome them as we continue to communicate with our students about changes here at the institution that I know are impacting them. Part of what happens with pass-fail, as the president has mentioned, we are a transfer mission-driven institution. Many of you that are students may be in career-oriented programs where you feel your associate's degree will be your last stop. That is often not the case. Many years from now, 2 years from now, you may go on to a four-year institution to get a baccalaureate degree, even though that may not be your immediate plan. And we need to make sure that we can secure your transcript so it is acceptable at any four-year institution. We pride ourselves on being a high-quality institution where all of our credits and courses transfer. We want to continue that tradition. We have a grading system that allows currently for something called a PC grade. It's a pass with a C or above. We may have to execute using that grade with a number of students on an on-case basis, depending on what those students need, what their plans are for transfer. But we know as an institution that we are best served by giving our students a grade, and a grade that will be accepted across the country and within the state of Massachusetts at four-year institutions that will allow them at any time that they choose to continue on to a baccalaureate degree. By moving to pass-fail, we are jeopardizing that transfer opportunity. While many four-year institutions may, on a short-term basis, say that pass-fail will be acceptable based on this current crisis, there's a good chance that a couple of years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that pass-fail grade on this semester could impact your ability to take the program that you want or to complete your goals going forward. And we want to make sure that we safeguard your transcript and your grades so that everything that you accomplish at Middlesex Community College can be transferred effectively long-term.
Great, thank you for that, Phil. One of the next questions was something we've seen quite frequently, and we understand everybody's concern around this, is what is being done to contact individuals who work in close proximity with somebody who is presumptive positive. We are following very closely CDC and Mass Public Health guidelines, and we are also working with our local health agencies as we have been directed by Mass Public Health to make sure that we work together on how people are notified. So this is being done per protocols that are really given to us. And these sometimes seem a bit opaque, but it's the rules we have to follow on this to protect people and individuals. And I'll have Patrick Cook say a little bit more on that right now.
Thanks, President Mabry. Thanks, Beth. We want to just let folks know, because there has been some confusion about this as this thing started to begin in the very first days. And what the president had referenced there is what's considered presumptive positive, secondary exposures and such. And we had started to receive, as you know, we created that emergency management mailbox, which is where we still want people, we're encouraging people to use for communications with us regarding specifically notifications or emergency matters on this. And we saw initially quite a large spike on illnesses and symptoms that were being reported through there. It has continued to be used as a clearinghouse for that information. And even this morning, we got a terrific email back that one of the people that had been initially one of the folks that we thought would be considered presumptive positive, the test came back negative. But what happened on the very earliest stages of this that we found out from our partners in the health departments, both in Bedford and Lowell, as well as the direction from the Massachusetts Community College's executive office, was that with the lack of testing that was occurring, we didn't have positive results that were coming back. So while some were displaying symptoms that we would have considered presumptive positive, we weren't able to even designate them as such. But what we've asked, and what has been happening with some regularity here, and it's continuing even today, is folks that notify us through that mailbox. There's a series. We really need that mailbox to be the clearinghouse for where we're researching these cases, because there's a series of protocols we have for communicable diseases that we have to follow. And very immediately, there's a series of questions that have to be asked. There's about 7 to 8 questions that we reply to immediately for the individual contacting us. And a lot of that has to do with, in terms of exposure, when it may have occurred. It has to do about whether or not the individual has been tested. But what it also provides us is a potential list of individuals that the person may have come in contact with as a tertiary contact. So what we tried to do was to compile those lists and then reach out to the individuals who were identified, through those communications, to let them know that somebody had been in contact. What we were finding in the immediate stages was that all of the cases they were coming in contact with were external. They were not on campus. They involved community partners or some of the different external relationships that we have. So we've been trying to use that mailbox to collect from both students, staff, and faculty, anybody that's been able to, a number of people have self-isolated as a result of certain symptoms showing up, but we ask that they close the loop with us so they can tell us if they're able to get these tests, that they do or don't come back. So just in the last 2 days, specifically, 2 of the cases that we've been watching, both came back as a negative result. So that's terrific news that we're glad to hear. But we still want to continue. Everybody knows that the turnaround on these exposures can sometimes be a week to 2 weeks. The majority of folks have been off campus now throughout the duration of this, which has been very helpful. But we still want to ask people to send all of the communications to that email box, emergencymanagement@middlesex.mass.edu, because that has to be the central clearinghouse from which we're able to work on all these. So Pam Flaherty, the Dean of Students, and I both monitor that mailbox, I'd say 24/7, but pretty close to as live time as possible. And Pam's dealing with a number of the student issues that have come in through that box. And we're dealing with the staff and faculty matters that have come in there as well. It's been a great communication and information tool. We beg that people continue to use it, because that's where we have to launch the protocols from, to ask the specific questions. And if we did have any further notifications that would be done, they'd be emanating from that mailbox.
Great, thank you, Patrick. We really appreciate that. As you can see, we have very defined protocols that we follow, so that when people go through that emergency management system, again, that's where we need people to go, because then it's handled properly and with the appropriate measures of privacy for the individual. So we really have to be cognizant of that as well. Okay, I'm going to move to some of the questions that are coming in from folks. And there's been several about, are we back in classes? Explain spring break extension and what's going on for summer. So I'm going to turn over to Phil in a minute, but I'll first say that we have all the classes will be back in session on Monday. Some faculty members who were had their classes ready to start last week already started doing some classes. I know Joanna was teaching all week. I've talked to a couple of the people who were. Again, we left that up to the individual faculty who know their students and their classes best. So that's where we took it. But absolutely, all classes will be going up and running. The provost and his deans have checked in with every single section, every single instructor, to make sure that everybody is ready to go. on Monday. So the spring break extension gave us a little more time to do that, to really get prepared for some people who needed additional time to do that, to make sure that we're back in session in remote modalities on Monday, right? There will be no on-campus classes until further notice. And as we're saying, we anticipate there will be no on-campus classes for the rest of the semester. So again, we'll be watching the guidance from the governor and state health officials very carefully as we move down that path. So that's about the spring break, but everybody really is back in remote learning modalities on Monday. Then there's questions, and we've seen these come in before, about summer, and will summer be totally online or completely remote? And we're still discussing that at this point. We're getting to it, but we are starting to have some conversations on that. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Phil to flesh that out a little bit.
Sure. Thanks, Beth. Thanks for unmuting me. Yeah, a couple of issues around what's been going on. So many faculty, for those of you who are unaware, approximately 20 to 22% of our current schedule in the spring is completely online. Faculty who have great fluency in the online environment, students who have chosen online courses. Those courses have been continuing throughout this week based on faculty preparedness and communication with students about their ability to continue during this week. For the remainder of our sections in the semester, mostly face-to-face, some hybrid, faculty have had a tremendous opportunity to engage in workshops and conversations, both at the department, the division, and the individual level, to provide support so that they are prepared to be ready for a remote learning environment on Monday. What I would say is there's tremendous creativity and different approaches, and we want to make sure that the quality of the educational experience in each and every one of our classes remains intact. Faculty are very committed to that. I've seen that through the innovation of what's happening, and individual faculty members are the best source of information for students about when their class begins, what the faculty member is asking you to do, what you need to do to sign out in terms of what their definition of remote learning will be. Many of our faculty will choose to use our Blackboard system. Many of them already have Blackboard shells. So for those of you who are unaware, there is a Blackboard shell that exists. It's a framework for each and every course on campus. Some faculty choose to use that, some faculty do not. But the faculty who have been gaining in fluency in online education in the last couple of weeks are opening up those shells and using those shells as an opportunity for students to be able to do their learning remotely. Other opportunities may be happening through email, through other conversations. Your faculty member will be the best source of information about how you continue your class for the remainder of the semester, based on the discipline and what is needed in each area. The only thing I'd add to what is happening is many of you are in areas where you're required to do practicums, you're doing clinical, you are attempting to complete internships. Hopefully there's been outreach from a variety of different areas, and there's a lot of very creative conversations going on right now about how we can make sure that you can complete those experiences in a timely fashion when we get guidance from the governor and when those clinical sites open up again for us to be able to utilize them. We may also be looking at alternatives to bring very small numbers of students on campus to complete clinical observations and concerns. You'll get individual information for faculty member, and that will not be happening for a while now. Sometime in May would be the earliest that that would start. Our goal right now is to make sure that all of our students complete all of their courses and have the opportunity to do so. If a student has not heard from a faculty member, I would ask that you reach out to myself or the Dean of Students or your academic dean, if you're aware of it, to make sure that we can get in contact with that faculty member so that they are in contact with you. So again, I would say for students who may not have heard from a faculty member, please let us know so that we can get you connected to that faculty member so you're aware about how the continuity of learning plan is going to happen for you for the remainder of the semester. Some things we will not have determinations on until we get better guidance about when and if we may be able to have any small groups on campus. That's something that's an ongoing conversation. We are also seeing a tremendous creativity from faculty about how you, for accredited programs, can complete those clinical experiences. Our goal is to do that as swiftly as we possibly can. We know many of you are completing programs to get out into the workforce, and it's our goal to make sure that you are able to do that. So what I would say is continue to communicate with your faculty members, and you'll be getting ongoing information about any kinds of clinical internships or practicum experiences that need to be finished in order for you to successfully complete your program.
Great, thank you, Phil. And I'm seeing a couple of questions that are probably from students about their particular classes, whether it's a language class or other things. And again, I would just reiterate that the answers will come from your professor. If you have a question about your particular class, your course, please contact your professor. They will be the ones who have the questions, will have the answers for that. And how they're going to planning to complete this semester there. Next question was, as we interact online, what are the best ways to prevent the spread of hackers or viruses? And as we all know, what's happening out there right now are a tremendous amount of people trying to take advantage of this situation. It's largely phishing attacks, so people trying to get you to click on something, trying to get you to provide personal information, trying to get you to provide login information. So you want to be very, very careful about those things and exercise the utmost caution. If you have any question or something seems weird to you, just contact the IT help desk. But I'm going to turn this one over to Joe Patuto for a little bit of clarification as well.
One second as I locate Joe.
Will do, Joanna. Thank you. So while you're locating Joe, I'm just going to answer make one other point there. For students who are online, again, check your Middlesex email. That's where your faculty members will be communicating with you first and foremost, and you should be checking that regularly. That's how you'll get updates. And anybody who wants to can say hello to Stella, who's now in the picture there. I've met many people's kids and pets in the last week or two. And it's really quite interesting to see that new balance of work life and how you work in the online community. So it's been great to see. Is Joe ready to go?
Phone number 978-804-8840.
Yeah, Joe's at 8840 if you can't find him. I'll fill in one more thing here. From our health programs, we have donated excess equipment to, mask, gowns, protective gear, whatever we had in stock and could spare. We have donated that to Lowell General Hospital at their request. We've received many inquiries about this, and we have long done everything we could in that realm. So I just want to assure you that we've been extremely generous. Our healthcare professionals at the college have been really a huge help with this, from dental to nursing to our other healthcare programs have really stepped up, gotten the equipment together, and gotten it ready to deliver to Lowell General Hospital. So thank you very much. Is Joe online now, or Joe available? Okay, we'll come back to that technology question in a minute. There are over 200 people online now, so sometimes it's a little bit hard to find out. One question was, will staff who work from home and cannot who cannot work from home, will they still get paid? This is something we're starting to work through, let's say, line by line, person by person at this point. And our hope is that we will be able to find additional work for people in the near future and make sure that everybody is able to contribute and stay on the payroll at this point. Some people, I'll have to be honest, there are a few people who are coming in occasionally for short periods of time in isolated settings to do things that cannot be done externally. So people have come in payroll to run checks, right? We can't do that remotely. And so there, a few things like that. But again, most of the people who I've talked to from at least 6 feet away have made it clear that sometimes they're glad to get out of the house just to come in and do something. So it's been interesting, but it's very small numbers, very scattered around the college there. But we're just, we've handled as many of the key functions as we could, gotten more than 150 people connected in the last few days. We've handed out more than 60 laptops and Chromebooks to staff. We are working through this, again, position by position. We're going to do the best we can at this point to support people. We'll see how this shapes up. I mean, this is, not an easy situation for the institution financially, and we're just going to have to work through this and figure out. So we don't have all the answers there. The next topic I'd like to go to is one that's been coming up also repeatedly. It's about commencement. And what are we doing with commencement? We all know that it's extremely important to celebrate our students and to really allow them to celebrate this huge milestone in their lives, in their careers. But it is growing increasingly clear that we probably will not be able to do a large gathering in May. So we're now trying to explore alternatives. The reason we haven't quite announced this yet is we're trying to figure out, okay, what can we do? And we've had discussions about doing a number of different things there. And I'm going to turn it over to Colleen Cox at this point to really give us a little more information about some of the options we're looking at. And again, we're rapidly narrowing this down and should have something out to the college fairly soon on this. Colleen?
Am I all set?
Yep, you're all set.
Okay. Yes, as the president mentioned, we are following the news on what, as you can see, what other institutions are doing. Institutions are doing everything from canceling to postponing to having virtual ceremonies. We're looking at all those options. Clearly, we want to find a way to celebrate our graduates and the work that they have done. So we have talked about everything from a virtual ceremony and a later celebration. We're looking at our schedule of events that are happening in October to celebrate the 50 years of Middlesex, and at a time when we will be bringing alum back on campus. That could be a potential time to really celebrate our graduates as well. So, it's a fluid situation, and but a decision will definitely have to be made in the coming days, and we'll be communicating that out to the community as soon as we have that information.
Great, thank you, Colleen. As we know, we're all painfully aware of how important this is for our students, and we really are trying to find a meaningful way to celebrate their accomplishments. And if people have suggestions, Colleen would welcome them. I know I had a conversation with Jack O'Connor from Commencement Photographs recently. They normally shoot photographs for about 500 different commencement ceremonies every year. And he was telling me about what some of the other schools are doing. They do everything from MIT to Caltech to Middlesex Community College. So it was really interesting to see some of the options that we could have there. So again, creative solutions, we're open to those. We'd really like to find a way to do that. So we're looking for some additional questions at this point. So if you have them, please put them in the chat window. Those are being relayed to me, and we'll start answering them.
I believe Joe is all set.
Okay. So Joe is going to then fill in a little bit about what you can do to prevent, hacking or intrusions while we're in the online environment. Joe, please go.
Hi, everybody. I just answered several texts that you're all looking for me, so here I am. Anyway, the good news is we've been at this for quite a while, 10, 20 plus years of online learning and supporting remote users off campus conducting college business. So the security infrastructure and the security measures that we have in place are very good. We have a robust firewall. We have a lot of security and tools embedded in our infrastructure. We even have security tools embedded in the laptops that we've assigned to you to use off campus. And when we are doing business transactions, we're requiring a two-factor authentication for secure data. So I think that we're pretty tight on security. However, we've ramped up the people who are now working remotely and the people who are working online. And the hackers and the fraudulent people out there know that. So the threats are going to increase, but I think the threats are going to come in the form of emails, as President Mabry talked about a few minutes ago. So there'll be some creative messaging in these emails that will try and hijack you and get you to go somewhere and disclose personal information. And so you want to pay attention to the subject line of where these emails are coming from. You want to pay attention to exactly who you're talking to. And anytime somebody's asking you for personal information, banking information, credit card information to go and buy something, it's usually not a good sign. So you want to be, cautious. It's going to ramp up. The best defense is you. And, hopefully we don't have an incident where you're caught in some kind of scheme. If you see an email that looks a little suspicious to you, by all means, forward it to the service desk. We're happy to take a look at it, triage it for you and provide some guidance. But stay on your toes. It's going to get tricky out there.
Thank you, Joe. And Joe, it is good to see you in these meetings.
Close.
I'm going to just check and see if everybody still has their sense of humor. All right, so I'm giving this warning in advance. If you get an email, and we've seen this in the past, they're called spoofs, where it'll look like it's coming from somebody else. If you see an email from the president of the college asking you to drop off or mail gift cards, right? I'm not going to be doing that, folks, right? Unless it comes from Donna and then she'll collect them, all right? So, all right, good. We're getting a few smiles out there. So really, you want to look at also the email address. The subject line is one, but the email address, because in spoofed emails, you can usually see the first part, which is recognizable, but the second part, which is not. So just be careful of that. At this point, there's one more question coming in on this. So just hang on 1 second. Okay. So there are sometimes, if a student is having a problem with their Blackboard emails going in, or emails from Blackboard going to junk mail, who would they contact, Joe, to find out a remedy for that? My guess would be that they'd be going to the IT help desk, which is being helped, but Joe can offer some more information on that.
Am I ready to go? So have the student contact the service desk. There is phone lines available. There's an online chat that we just opened today on the Technology Center page, where you actually talk to a MCC employee, and you can always email the service desk as well. So that's 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I just want to go back to Patrick for a second here about donations to Lowell General Hospital. Patrick?
Sure. Thanks for tossing that back. I know we some of the folks involved with this are on this call as well, but just want people to realize, because we have had a number of inquiries asking what the college has been doing on this front. We've been working with Suzanne McHale and Kate Sweeney and Paul Petit, a number of different folks we have donations that have been collected from biotech, from nursing, dental hygiene, dental assisting, diagnostic, medical sonography. Everybody has kind of pitched in with some of the supplies they have on hand. Lowell General had reached out to Colleen Cox, I forget when, but it was certainly more than a week ago or so, asking for some assistance. And so this week, Suzanne and folks have been facilitating the delivery of literally over 500 face masks that the college has donated to the hospital. I know there's been like 40 boxes of gloves. I'm not sure how many are in each of those boxes. They've been doing lab coats, face shields, hand sanitizer, coveralls, wipes. So there's a pretty extensive group of donations that have been made, and you're going to see we're about to be, Caitlin and the folks in marketing have put together a press release to be announcing that this afternoon. I think it's already gone out. So we want to get some coverage for the terrific work being done by folks, because it's been all hands on deck to make sure that we're able to be a great community partner with these resources, because we don't have folks on campus needing them right now. We obviously haven't stripped on our own resources, but we've been able to give some of the surplus material to the folks in need. And I also want to give a shout out, because I know some of our nursing faculty and people in different areas have been asked to assist in whatever capacity they have with their expertise. I've been seeing it happen offline, and I don't want to lose sight of the incredible work that people are doing off campus with our community partners as well, especially on the healthcare front lines.
Great, thank you for that, Patrick. Somebody just wrote in and asked about the governor's press conference about travelers returning to Massachusetts. And while I didn't see the press conference, my understanding is that he's asking people to voluntarily go into self-quarantine when they come back from out of state. How this would impact our students coming back would be they would be quarantined, but they would still, I would think, be able to work remotely as long as they're not sick. Students who have issues with that can also contact their professor just at any point. You know that the professors at the college are always going to be sensitive to the unique circumstances of our students, and they will be the front line for really helping students or referring students to where they can get the appropriate help on that. Now, in just a second, I'm going to turn something over to Pam, so I'm just giving her a heads up there. But first, Patrick, do you have more on this?
There we go. Yeah, the governor just did a press conference a little bit ago, and the reason it's really important for everybody to be paying attention to this, and we're going to ship this out on the emergency management email later on today, but he's just advising everybody that's entering the state of Massachusetts now to self-quarantine for 14 days. This is anybody that's coming in through Logan or Worcester or any of the trains, the commuter rails coming back into the state. The reason that this is really important for us, and it's going to show how valuable the information we've been collecting for weeks is that a number of you know, and we had an overwhelmingly tremendous response to the travel request form we put out on day one back when this first began. We had literally hundreds of you who've contributed your information about where folks were going to be traveling during spring break specifically. It was a very cooperative process that happened, and we very much value what people shared with us. But what that did is it also showed us that we had quite a substantial amount of people that were still had travel plans that were in place before some of the bans went into place. So we know that we had an extensive grouping of folks that had gone to Florida or some of the warmer climes during the spring break. This new the update from the governor in terms of this travel guidance advisory was announced today, but it should be something that anybody who has now come from a different location should, even if they, prior to today, should be taking into account to do this self-quarantine for 14 days, especially since we're starting to see a spike on some of the nationwide cases that have occurred off of some of the larger tourist destinations. There's been a huge spike, as many folks have seen, out of New Orleans post Mardi Gras. The numbers there are creeping up substantially, but those travel request forms are incredibly useful and helpful to us. We'd ask that anybody, we're going to ask, send another notification out to continue using those to tell us if you are returning from an area, but this governor's request to do the self-quarantine is going to be very helpful and should be heeded by anybody who's been traveling or coming back into the state within the last couple of weeks.
Great, thank you for that, Patrick. Pam, this is one couple that I'm going to hand over to you in just a second, so that if you can be unmuted, it'd be great. So the first is about any opportunities for students to borrow a laptop for online learning. And again, I think going to their professor and having it filter up through you is the way to do that, but you'll straighten that up. The second one is about, talk about the food banks a little bit.
Sure. As far as laptops, we're trying to analyze students' technology. So whether the student emails or the professor emails, either way works. And we're filtering it through the Dean of Students email box. So if students are on here and you're in need, you would send it to Dean of Students, all one word, at middlesex.mass.edu. And you can use that mailbox for any kind of questions that you have. We're trying to triage out when students are falling into areas that are difficult. The other thing for the food pantry is staff have been actually bringing stuff still to the food pantry. We've got it fairly full of stuff. So we're working with security. If you're a student or a faculty member, an MCC member, and you need the food pantry, you can go to the college and security, on the door, there's a contact number, and you can call security and they will let you in and they'll bring you to the food pantry and you can go in and get some of the things that you need. They'll be doing wiping down in between people who come in. So they're practicing all kinds of cleaning measures afterwards. So we do not want our students to have any needs. And if there's any other things that are preventing students from being successful online, I'd hope that you would email the Dean of Students. If you're not hearing from your faculty member, you should have by now, and if you have not heard from them and you've checked your email and you've checked Blackboard, then please email the Dean of Students and we will try and triage out. We've got staff that are reaching out to students and really trying to problem solve all of the small little things that are getting complicated as we go on to remote learning.
Great, and that was, thanks for that, Pam. Somebody asked Phil to talk about who should students contact. They heard from their faculty member, but as you said, you gave that information. Again, if that comes in, we will handle it in as quickly as possible. Okay. There was a further question about what happens if you live in New Hampshire. Do you have to stay quarantined for 2 weeks because you're crossing a state border? That sounds quite interesting, doesn't it? I know, there's Pam, we got her locked up in New Hampshire now. So probably not the only one there. Patrick, do you have any more on that?
Sure, at this point, and again, this just happened within the last hour, so it's still fresh information, but it seems to be indicating for folks that are returning from destination locations, primarily the warmer climes or the vacation spots. It's not so much the interborder. Certainly not the contiguous states. It's people coming from tropical climes, or especially anybody that might be returning from overseas. But it seems to, they're talking very specifically about the airport as being the choke points for this returning to airports and commuter rails from larger destinations. I think New York City is another one that they're watching very closely. But there's been nothing at all to address about contiguous states. it's been primarily dealing from vacation locations.
Okay, Patrick, stay on there just a second. You know, people have asked questions about building access. Could you go into your office and get your plants or get some, materials you need? Absolutely. You just need to contact security. They will let you in. But Patrick will talk a little bit more about that.
Sure, we've had people that have been coming to get personal belongings out of their offices throughout. Some folks are, needing to log into the desktops to grab something. They've been coming in and out of the buildings, but just so folks understand, all of our buildings are locked and inaccessible to the public. However, they are accessible for our MCC personnel if you're coming to go to your office for a period of time or to retrieve some belongings. But each of the doors across both campuses have signage that's posted on them with the 24/7 security numbers. So Bedford's got the Bedford phone, and Lowell has, all the Lowell properties have the Lowell phone. We ask that you call that number upon arrival and just be patient. Let the officer get a couple minutes to get from point to point to let you in. The duration you stay there is there's no restriction on that, just that you are maintaining social distancing. There's nobody else that's with you. There's signage on the elevators that at most there's only 2 people allowed in an elevator at a time. But we want to make sure that at all times people are maintaining the social distances of 6 feet or more between them, especially, if you get your private office, that's one thing, you can close the door. But if you're in an open area, we want to make sure that there's no other individuals around you. But one of the things, just to be clear on, because we've been beating this drum now throughout a couple of weeks, is that it is imperative that you check out upon leaving so that we know that there aren't any individuals left on the properties or in areas that we're not aware of while they are on campus. We just want to make sure that for the safety of everybody involved, that as far as, we are keeping a daily log, just not for monitoring purposes, just so we know that everybody's out of the buildings that we've been allowing them into. So please make sure to check back in with security when you departed the properties.
Okay, the next question is going to be handled by Mary Emmerich, VP of HR, and it's questions about staff getting paid. And again, if you have particular questions about HR related, I would really ask you to reach out directly to Mary. She and her staff will get back to you very quickly on those. But she's going to pick this up now if we can get her unmuted. So Mary, are you ready there? So we're looking for Mary in there. Oh yeah, more families, more family members. Great to see. So while we're waiting to find Mary Emmerich, there's a question about, will purchasing guidelines be changed so that we can purchase items and have them shipped to our homes or student homes if needed? That's not a question I've seen come up and don't have an answer to off the top of my head here. And I'm not sure if Frank Nocella's on or if our purchasing manager is on. But if that question was emailed directly to Frank Nocella, we will make sure that we get you an answer on that. Okay. So Beth, are we finding Mary at all?
Just trying to confirm her phone number, but this may be her. If this is you, Mary, you're unmuted.
Mary, can you?
Good afternoon. Yep, good afternoon.
There we go.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yep, okay, perfect. I just wanted to share that we do have some information that we're providing on the My MCC page, which are MCC pandemic response guidelines. What this will assist with is for faculty and staff to continue working with their teams, developing their remote work plans, and really supporting the college's efforts to maximize off-campus work while maintaining the continuity of our essential operations. So staff that have been working remotely do continue to receive pay. We also have a summary of our current leave policies for this pandemic response for those individuals that are in need of requesting any time off. So just to share some of those resources, we also have our administration is reviewing our current part-time workforce in effort to identify and see the availability of ongoing work for the college as we move forward with our remote working plan.
Okay, great. Thanks for that, Mary. Phil, I'm going to reach over to you in just a second with this one. And the question is, will full-time and adjunct faculty be given option to continue to use distance learning formats for the summer and fall? And again, I think that's something that as we sort of move into a little more future planning there, we'll be thinking about considering. Absolutely. But Phil, you will take that one?
Sure, absolutely. So for all full and part-time faculty who are now either fine-tuning their skills or beginning their skills in a remote learning environment, we will welcome the opportunity to expand our online opportunities for students with courses. As we look at summer, I've already had an original conversation with my staff about what summer session 1 is going to look like and how it might be more robust with more online courses, including the other summer sessions. So I think this is going to have to be a decision we make in the next few weeks based on guidance that we get from the CDC and from the governor about whether or not students will be able to come to campus by the time we start summer session 1. So people are going to have to remain posted. But I would encourage faculty who are interested in expanding their ability to teach online based on what they're learning now or what they see as a possibility, that you should be in communication with your dean. We're welcoming those conversations in terms of expanding our online opportunities. I just want to also follow up with an important communication to students that are on with us. Pam has already alerted you, and we'll get another Dean of Students message out today, that if you have not heard from your faculty member, that we want to hear from you through the Dean of Students office. It will be really important for us to not only get your name, but also the name of the class and the name of the faculty member if you have it, so that we can do immediate follow-up. You can also do that through the office of the provost. You can access that email as well. Or if you are familiar with the dean of the particular area, feel free to reach out directly to the deans. They are all on this town hall today listening to this. They know our conversation, and our goal is that we will be communicating with any faculty who have not communicated with students thus far, so that you should have a clear path and an understanding of what you do starting on Monday with your classes.
Great, thank you for that, Phil. I just had another question, Pam, really to, can students borrow laptops? And again, I think the protocol is really to go, please report this to your faculty member that you need that to complete the course, who will bring it up to Pam. And yes, there are some opportunities for this. Pam, you want to put a little more on that?
Yep, absolutely. And we're hoping, we're just having them email the Dean of Students office, and then we're just validating that the student is an actual student and that they're in classes. And then they will get an email back, and security has them at the Lowell campus on the city in the lounge. And so students go there between 9 and 9 if they've been approved from my office, and they will, security will open up, and they have their whole process on distributing it. So we're hearing directly from students, and we're hearing from faculty who are aware of students. We don't want to prevent a student from emailing the Dean of Students office because they may not have heard from their faculty yet. So either way, that's what we have available. They're Chromebooks, and we want to be able to get all students to be able to do all of their remote work.
Right. The critical part of that is they will not be handed a Chromebook unless they're on the list of being approved by the Dean of Students. So you have to go through the appropriate protocol. But again, we're really on top of that, and we'll do our best to help our students there. It says, how are we handling students who need to meet testing requirements? I'm not sure if Phil or Pam will handle that. Phil, please, if you can unmute Phil. There you go.
Sure. Any questions that a faculty member may have about testing requirements should be discussed with their dean. There are a number of possibilities that are available to you depending on what remote learning process you are using. We have a number of faculty that have been very creative about how they're addressing this testing issue. Testing issues for students are never perfect, but we will at least work through that individually. So I'd encourage any faculty member that has that particular question to get to your dean so that we can address that, so that any form of remote testing that you are having issues with, we can address.
Okay, Pam, did you have more on that? Okay, there you go.
I just want to add that if it happens to be a student with a disability, we're following the disability protocol and still working through the disability offices. So if we have a student with a disability and they're asking about that, or a faculty member who's asking about that, please have them get in touch with folks from Disability Support Services. They are working behind the scenes to make sure that they are supporting the students in whatever the needs are. So if it's a faculty member with a question, please call. If it's a student with a question, please connect with them. You can get the resources on the web page. If you go to the Dean of Students web page, or if you go to the COVID-19 web page, there's a student link that'll link you over to where all of the resources are, the remote resources for students.
Okay, we seem to have reached the end of our questions at this point. I really want to appreciate the more than 235 people who joined this conversation today. I would encourage all of you to really join these video conferences with video. It really makes us feel more like a community. When we just see telephone numbers, it's just not the same thing. And for somebody who's been working remote, in my office on the Bedford campus alone for the last week, it's really nice to see people. We're all going to have those, social challenges as we are more isolated. But I really, encourage you to, explore using these tools. I did dress up today. I actually put a button-down shirt on, but it's really nice that we can, work in a more relaxed fashion to get the work done. I would also encourage everybody, if you have specific questions, you can always use the emergency management email. If you have questions, about notifications or anything, that's the place. But there's many places to go to. Patrick gets those and monitors that all the time. Patrick, you have a little more to say on that?
No, just what we said, previously, just to make sure that those the travel notifications continue to come in. They're going to be more valuable now than even before. But I also wanted to, Pam, while I've got instead of having to jump back and forth here, toggle back and forth, I know that Phil and Pam are planning a continuing series of these type of Zoom communications over the course of next week with students specifically. So watch those emails that Joanna is telling folks to be checking their college emails about, because there will be a series of these things that are going to continue. They're not going to be as sprawling in their scope, but Pam and Phil are going to be dealing with some very specific student-based ones. So please make sure to watch your emails for those notifications, and I'm sure there'll be at least a couple of them on deck for next week.
Okay, I'm just going to turn it over to Beth to wrap it up then, please.
Thank you, everyone, for participating today and for being patient with us as we tried this new form of remote gathering. I feel like it went pretty well. We've recorded this, as I mentioned at the start, so a recording will be available. We'll try and get that up as soon as possible on the college's YouTube channel, and there'll also be a link to it from the COVID-19 webpage. Any questions that we didn't get to, we will make sure that we do reach back out and answer those either in a campus update email or on our frequently asked questions page. Thank you again, and any additional questions you have that you might think of as soon as we get off of this call, please email the emergency management at middlesex.mass.edu account. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay healthy and well.
Thank you, everyone. All right, have a good weekend.